Obi-W is Nigeria's trusted name in affordable tech and gadget trade-ins. From Lagos to Abuja, from students to CEOs, Obi-W is your guy for quality tech devices, brand new and pre-owned alike. Got a new phone or laptop? Bring it in and walk away with an upgrade or a cashback, or in fact, both. Whether you shop in-store or online, at obwizi.com, you are guaranteed value, warranty, and a customer-first experience. Obi-W offers affordable tech, trusted service, because with gadgets, Obi-W is your guy. Follow Obi-W at Instagram at Obi-W Backup Page, or on TikTok at Obi-W. That is at Obi-W on TikTok. Obi-W is spelled Obiwezi. That is Obiwezi.
At GZI, we believe corporate success must go hand in hand with community impact. Through our corporate social responsibility initiatives, we've supported lives across Nigeria, from donating protective coveralls to street sweepers nationwide to organizing free medical outreach programs for our host communities. We're committed to improving lives, promoting safety, and giving back wherever we operate. GZI, building communities, inspiring change.
The biggest debate competition in Nigeria. I beg to differ on 99.3 Nigeria Info. Brought to you by GZ Industries.
On Monday, the final stretch begins, starting with the semifinals. At 4 p.m., Great Solid Rock College goes head-to-head with Honeyland School on the motion. Corruption is a symptom of flawed systems, not flawed people. Later at 5 p.m., Straitgate High School faces Heritage Group of Schools on the motion. Liberty should be limited in the interest of security. To debate two high-stakes motions, only the sharpest advance. I am Yvonne Okhaifo. Join Femi, Obong-Daniels and me on Monday as two schools advance to the grand finale. I Beg to Differ Season 9. 32 schools, now 4. One winner, 5 million naira. One grand title, the Champion of Champions. Sponsored by GZ Industries. Supported by Obi-W, Multiplan Pathway College and Finna Trust Microfinance Bank. I Beg to Differ. The Tournament of Champions.
Welcome back as we progress to the second semi-final debate. It's time to perform the ritual of determining how the champions and the runners-up will debate on the final day, which will be on Thursday. Both debates, third place at 3 p.m.
right.
prompt on Thursday. The final starts at 4 p.m. And so Great Solid Rock in that third place final. Johnson, you will pick one of these two sides in the presence of the two sets of schools contending, because you'll be going up against
One of
whoever loses this next debate. Okay? So pick one, left or right. Which one do you want? That one. Please use Grace's mic there and tell us whether you will be opposing or supporting. You will be opposing the motion. So whoever,
Hold on.
just stand where you are. Whoever you go up against will be supporting the motion. The motion is in front of me. That's for the third place final. Your debate will be at 3 p.m. And now, Yvonne, the final?
Yes, for the final, the finale itself, I've got two folded pieces of paper here containing the topics that will be discussed on Thursday, starting at 4 o'clock. Ometere, pick one. Wonderful. Ometere, tell us what side Honeyland Schools will debate on Thursday.
Oppose.
You will oppose the motion on Thursday. Right. Now we segue into the match of the hour. This match pits Heritage Group of Schools against Straitgate High School. The motion is liberty should be limited in the interest of security. You will meet the debaters when we return from this break.
On Monday, the final stretch begins, starting with the semifinals. At 4 p.m., Great Solid Rock College goes head-to-head with Honeyland School on the motion. Corruption is a symptom of flawed systems, not flawed people. Later at 5 p.m., Straitgate High School faces Heritage Group of Schools on the motion. Liberty should be limited in the interest of security. To debate two high-stakes motions, only the sharpest advance. I am Yvonne Okhaifo. Join Femi, Obong-Daniels and me on Monday as two schools advance to the grand finale. I Beg to Differ Season 9. 32 schools, now 4. 1 winner, 5 million naira, 1 grand title, the champion of champions. Sponsored by GZ Industries, supported by Obi-W, Multiplan Pathway College and Finna Trust Microfinance Bank. I Beg to Differ, the tournament of champions.
At GZI, we believe corporate success must go hand in hand with community impact. Through our corporate social responsibility initiatives, we've supported lives across Nigeria, from donating protective coveralls to street sweepers nationwide to organizing free medical outreach programs for our host communities. We're committed to improving lives, promoting safety, and giving back wherever we operate. GZI, building communities, inspiring change.
The biggest debate competition in Nigeria. I Beg to Differ on 99.3 Nigeria Info. Brought to you by GZ Industries.
Welcome back to the I Beg to Differ semifinals, where reason meets rhetoric and young minds rise like morning sun over mountains of ideas. Second and last semifinal. It's brought to you by GZI and
Multiplan Pathway College, Finna Trust Microfinance Bank, and of course, Obi-W.
Obi-W.
We're streaming live on Facebook and YouTube. Join the live streams, like, comment, and share. I tell you, nothing beats viewing the action live. It's okay to listen via the radio, but it takes the experience a notch higher when you watch it live on Facebook or YouTube. Nigeria Info 99.3.
Brilliant. This hour, the stage is set for Straitgate High School and Heritage Group of Schools as they wrestle with a timeless tension that has shaped societies, shaken states, and stirred generations. Should liberty bow to security, or should freedom forever fly unchained? Is safety the shield that must sometimes silence freedom's song? Or does liberty lose its light the moment we dim its flame? Today, these debaters tackle the delicate dance between protection and personal power, between the fortress and the free man. The semi-final spark is about to begin. First, let's meet our semi-final contestants. Starting from the school which beat Rachmania Private School, Agege, Lagos, in the round of 32 on the topic corporal punishment in schools should be reintroduced in Lagos. They then beat Lifejoy Academy, Iba, Lagos, in their round of 16 battle on the topic corporate social responsibility should focus more on sustainability than philanthropy. Then they went into the quarterfinal, beating Timi Comprehensive College, Mushin, Lagos, on the topic environmental protection should take precedence over industrial expansion. Here they are, fighting once again. Meet Ayeba Chokoni, Leah Zipele, and Adio Timothy Olamilekon of Heritage Group of Schools, Ofada, Ogun State. Welcome back, Leah.
Thank you, sir.
And welcome to the crucible of the debate, Timothy.
Thank you, sir.
Their third speaker for this semi-final battle has been their second speaker all along. Her name, Babalola Deborah. Toluwalope. By the way, Leah is 14. She's in SS2. And Timothy is 15 and in SS3. Welcome to you both once again.
Thank you, sir.
Let's now meet their opponents. Their school defeated Penny International College, Surulere, Lagos in the round of 32. A historical match which ended in 2 ties and a final tiebreaker. Topic: examinations are not the true tests of knowledge for starters on the day. The memory continued as they beat Danbath Schools, Ikorodu, Lagos in the round of 16 on the topic: Nigeria needs referendum, not constitution amendment. On to the quarterfinal they went. Kings and Queenies Zenith School, Ikorodu, Lagos, waiting for them. The topic on that occasion was globalization enriches rather than erases national culture. Yet again, they prevailed. The students of Straitgate High School, Magodo, Lagos. And here are their debaters, Owoshino Grace and Okonkwo Chidera. Welcome, both of you. Welcome to the semi-final. Grace is 16. She's in SS3. Chidera is 15, also in SS3. They are supported by Uzoma Shine, who's 13 and in SS1. The die is cast, Yvonne.
That's right. Last week, these debaters picked the sides of the topic that they would argue this evening. We'll start with Heritage Group of Schools. How will you argue this evening?
We'll support the motion.
You will support the motion. That leaves Straitgate High School with the opposing side. The motion this hour is: liberty should be limited in the interest of security.
Are you ready to go straight into the debate? All right, Lagos. It is time for us to debate. Let's just buy you a half-minute breather. And when we come back, we'll start the debate straight away.
Hello there, I'm here to tell you about the world-class beverage cans producers, GZI. At GZI, excellence is our hallmark. We produce world-class aluminum beverage cans that meet the highest international quality and safety standards. Our cans are 100% recyclable, lightweight, and designed to keep every beverage fresh while protecting the planet. With state-of-the-art facilities and responsible production practices, we are proudly setting the pace for sustainable packaging across Africa. GZI. Yes, we can.
The biggest competition in Nigeria. I beg to differ on 99.3 Nigeria Info. Brought to you by GZ Industries.
Yes, thank you to all our sponsors and also our esteemed listeners. It is now time for the second and final semi-final debate.
Starting with the motion supporter, Heritage Group of Schools. The motion being liberty should be limited in the interest of security. You will now hear from Ayeba Tokoni Leah. You've got 4 minutes. Your time starts now.
My ever attentive audience and moderators, let me bring you to your lead of notice. Did you know that the right to swing your feet ends when another man nose begins? According to Oliver Wendell Holmes, distinguished judges, ladies and gentlemen, liberty is precious, but unrestrained liberty is dangerous. In a society where people are allowed to behave how they please, that is not freedom, that is chaos. Even the greatest philosopher who better democracy understood this, Thomas Hobbes, warned that life without security is nasty, brutish, and short. Today's terrorism, kidnapping, cyber attacks, and crime remind us that liberty without security is an invitation to danger. True liberty cannot exist without security, because a society that cannot grant safety cannot grant freedom. I am Deepa Elia from the most precious title because we have to support the motion which says liberty should be limited in the interest of security. To begin with, no security equals no liberty. Over 120 countries suffer high violence rates according to UNODC 2023. Without security, rights become theoretical. So I ask my opponents, what is freedom? What is freedom when people fear stepping out? Secondly, terrorism requires preventive limit. Global terrorism led to 6,700 deaths in 2023 according to GIT. Intelligence communications and foil attacks. So I ask my opponents, why protect privacy that protect terrorists? Moving on, absolute freedom online equals cybercrime explosion. Cybercrime cost $10.5 trillion in 2025, according to Cybersecurity Ventures. So I ask you, do we want liberty or losing entire economies? Furthermore, mass shootings prove unregulated liberty kills. Countries with tighter gun laws suffer are the one with 70% fewer mass shootings. Countries with tighter gun laws are the one with 70% fewer mass shootings. So why defend liberty that end lives? Concurrently, surveillance reduces crime by up to 15%. Targeted CCTV in hotspot areas. Targeted CCTV in hotspot that reduces crime by 10 to 15%. It's a small liberty trade, not what a safe environment. Additionally, public approval supports limits. During insecurity, over 64% of citizens support giving surveillance power to the government. Is democracy not about the people's will again? Not leaving behind hate speech restriction prevents violence. Countries with 35% hate speeches suffer hate speech laws suffer 35% hate speeches, according to the UNODC report. So that's my opponent. It's unregulated expression worth bloodshed, not slowing down permanent responses promote security via temporary limits. COVID-19 restriction prevented 16 to 20 million deaths, according to WEF report 2023. Ladies and gentlemen, if lives were saved, were those limits not justified? Moving on, unchecked liberty wasn't civil conflict. Nation with extreme freedom but low controls can suffer 3 times more conflict. So I ask you, I put it to you, liberty without law is chaos. You must know that security is morally superior to insecurity. The first duty of any nation is to ensure safety, then information, communication, and association. Not slowing down strict firearm control reduces murder. Firearm control helping reducing homicide by 45% substantially in countries with strict security laws. Why defend deadly liberty? My opponents? And I must add, tighter borders reduce human trafficking. Tighter borders in developed nations helping reducing human trafficking substantially by 25%. Don't vulnerable victims deserve protection first. Furthermore, drug epidemics increasing insecurity. Unregulated job market has led to 600,000 deaths in 2023, according to World Health Organization. So I put it to my opponents: is the freedom to die a freedom worth dying for? I leave that for you to answer. Concurrently, safety is the foundation of the economy. Crime drained $3 trillion from the global economy yearly, according to WEF 2023. So I ask you, what is prosperity without security? More interestingly, technology-based policing safe cities. Reducing policing in tested US cities, helping reducing policies in tested US cities, helping reducing terror attacks substantially by 45%. So doesn't it prove to you that liberty saves life? Doesn't it prove to you that security saves life? More interestingly, security reduce kidnapping and banditry. Strict terrorism has helped in reducing banditry and terrorism. Strict security has helped in reducing banditry and terrorism substantially in tested US cities. In conclusion, my opponents, Mahatma Gandhi once said, freedom is not worth having if it does not include the freedom to live in safety. Freedom is not worth having if it does not include the freedom to live in safety. Freedom, in conclusion, my opponents, freedom is not worth having if it does not include the freedom to live in safety. Liberty without security is chaos, and modern threat demand modern limits. So I ask you, my opponents, without security, is liberty even real? Thank you.
Leah Zipele of Heritage Group of Schools of Fada, Ogun State, in her presentation round, 14 years of age, SS2 student. Well done. Time now to move straight to Grace Owoshino of Straitgate High School, Magodo, Lagos.
Security without liberty is prison. Prison without security is chaos. But today, a difficult question must be asked. Which is more dangerous? A criminal outside your home or the government who locks all the doors and keeps the keys? Good day, Mr. Chairman, panel of judges, accurate timekeeper, my fellow debaters. My name is Owoshino Grace, a student of Straitgate High School, and I'm here to oppose the motion which states liberty should be limited in the interest of security. Firstly, limiting liberty abuses human rights. According to the UDHR, sections 4 and 9, fundamental human rights should not be limited in any case in point. We forget that we are human beings. Human rights are not a luxury. They are what we should be afforded to. We are owed it. Also, surveillance abuses privacy. When you say, okay, the government wants to limit our right to privacy, our right to association, they want to monitor us. That limits our right as a human being firstly. Yes, we are Nigerians, but also we are human beings first. And don't we all deserve privacy? Furthermore, censorship limits freedom of expression. When content is being censored, people cannot truly express themselves. What is being brought out there is not the people's thoughts, but the thoughts the government feels is appropriate for the state. How do you expect the state to go? I put it to you today. With limiting liberty, what happens is that the people, which are a fundamental part of the democracy and the state, end up not fulfilling their points, meaning that we function under a fast of democracy. Speaking of people, history has warned us time and time again that when you limit liberty, it starts from security policies, then it goes on to security control management, then it goes on to an authoritarian system. Have we forgotten Germany during the Nazi period? First of all, there were security measures put that they were not able to express themselves fully. Movement was restricted until finally it got to the point that it ended up in. Is that the case we want now? Also, there is abuse of power. When people cannot call out the government on things that are going on, they are being monitored in where they move, what
Speaking
they think,
to the mic,
what
please.
they talk about. What happens then? The people are not able to effectively curtail the power, which allows for abuse of power. The people serve as a check to governmental power, and when the people are not enabled, they cannot serve as a check. Also, there is lack of government. You're telling me now somebody will take away my rights and I'm supposed to trust them? How do you expect the society to move forward? And that is what limiting liberty does. The people do not have trust in the government because the government ends up failing them by taking away their rights. Security agents also end up being above the law. Everybody's above the law. That's the system the Constitution puts out to us there. But when you say these security agencies which go against the Constitution take away our rights under the guise of protecting us, then what's the point of having the Constitution there? The security agents become above the law and end up playing God. Also, it weakens democracy. Democracy is a system of government by the people, of the people, and for the people. And when you take away the rights of the people, how do you expect that pillar to stay stand? Let me tell you, it won't. Also, it leads to political apathy. When the people know, oh, their voices are not going to be heard, their opinions don't matter, they are monitored in where they walk, how they talk, who they associate with, what's the point of engaging in political practices? That is their thought process, which includes political apathy. Also, there's wrongful accusations. When anything is labeled under security being insecure, the people end up being wrongfully accused. Journalists, what's it called? News organizations, news anchors, people in general, thrown into prison for doing nothing wrong. Also, development slows. When the people cannot express their thoughts, they are not allowed to think, they are not allowed to move, they are not allowed to breathe, then how is creativity supposed to flow? How is the development supposed to go on when the development becomes stunted under security? Minor groups are silenced. We already have minority groups. How does the minority further become a minority? Why? By taking away their rights, taking away what can make them distinguishable, what takes away what can make them recognized in society today. That is what limiting liberty does. Also, power given most likely will not be given back. They say, give me your power, give it back. Please, you give me power now. Am I supposed to give it back? Who wants to give it back? That's the system that limiting liberty does. It takes away the power. Power will not be returned back. Do we forget Egypt that was given a security measure that over 30 years ended up being renewed? What happened to that power? It was taken away. Also, it promotes fear, not security. You're telling me now you take away my rights. You say I cannot move. You say I cannot talk. You say I cannot think. And you expect me to live safe, relying on the government, when really what it breeds is fear. Furthermore, it is authoritarian in nature because the people are not able to accurately express themselves. They end up being zombies in a system that says, oh, it's good for you, but at the end of the day stifles them, doesn't allow them to grow, leaves a specific set of people in power. Please let me tell you, that is not beneficial for society. Also, there is ineffectiveness of policies because the government do not know the people, how the policies are affecting the people, because the people do not have the right to express and give their thoughts on the policies, how it's working for us. Why live? You say, oh, the system is there to protect us, to keep us safe. If that's a system that keeps us safe by stifling me, I beg to differ. That is not a system I want. Thank you.
Owoshino Grace, SS3 student of Straitgate High School, Magodo, Lagos, for their presentation round. Before them, you heard Heritage Group of Schools of Ada Ogun State and Leah Zipele opening for them.
We'll take a short break now. When we come back, we will hear the rebuttal rounds. This is the last match in the semifinals of I Beg to Differ Season 9. It's the first edition.
Can't wait.
The biggest debate competition in Nigeria. I Beg to Differ on 99.3 Nigeria Info. Brought to you by GZ Industries.
Queen's University Belfast is a leading member of the UK's prestigious Russell Group, the equivalent of the Ivy League, known for world-class teaching, research excellence, and strong graduate employability. Found in 1845, Queen's has a long tradition of welcoming students from Nigeria into a friendly and diverse international community. Located in Belfast, one of the safest and most affordable student cities in the UK, students benefit from modern facilities, strong employer links, internship opportunities, and global career support. Queen's has dedicated scholarships for students coming from Nigeria. Nigerian graduates from Queen's leave with a highly respected UK degree, equipped with the skills and connect.
Hello there. I'm here to tell you about the world-class beverage cans producers, GZI. At GZI, excellence is our hallmark. We produce world-class aluminum beverage cans that meet the highest international quality and safety standards. Our cans are 100% recyclable, lightweight, and designed to keep every beverage fresh while protecting the planet. With state-of-the-art facilities and responsible production practices, we are proudly setting the pace for sustainable packaging across Africa. GZI. Yes, we can.
The biggest debate competition in Nigeria. I Beg to Differ on 99.3 Nigeria Info. Brought to you by GZ Industries.
Welcome back. We're streaming live on Facebook and YouTube. Nigeria Info 99.3. Refresh the Nigeria Info page to join the current live stream.
No doubt, no doubt. We now step into the rebuttal round, the arena where arguments meet their mirrors and clarity conquers confusion. Debaters, your task is simple yet severe. Address every point, every single point raised against you. Expose weak logic, challenge shaky claims, and only after fulfilling this duty may you introduce new points if the clock still smiles on you. So let the counterfire begin now. For this round, we will...
The motion opposer
will go to the motion
Straitgate High School.
Opposer.
Yes, you will start this round. So, Chidera, your time starts now.
Liberty isn't a luxury. It's the heartbeat of humanity, a right granted to every person, a right which is value to our identity, thoughts, and movement. Standing on existing protocol, I'm Chidera Okonkwo, and I'm here to rebut my opponent's points. My opponent stated that there's no freedom without security. But how do you expect security to prosper when there's no freedom? How do you expect a nation to move forward when people do not trust their government? The only way for a nation to move forward is when the citizens and the government work hand in hand together. So saying that without security, without freedom, there's insecurity. People need to trust their government so that they can move together. Countries such as Denmark, Iceland, and Finland are ranked by the Freedom House Report 2024 as the top 5 safest countries and top 5 freest countries. My opponent also mentioned that freedom allows for cybercrime. But we cannot keep punishing the people when they do not understand the offenses that they are making. What we need to do is to create awareness. Let the people know that this cybercrime causes this, that causes this. This also applies for my opponent stating hate speech increases violence. They should make the people aware. Create awareness campaigns for people to understand that they shouldn't do this. You cannot completely remove citizens' liberty for them committing a crime that did not know was actually a crime. My opponent also mentioned that that allows for criminals to prosper, but there should be systems that reduce crime rates. The only reasons why criminals will continue is when a system does not work. We need better systems. We need systems that will work for these criminals. We do not need weak systems. My opponent also mentioned the gun laws and people using guns. We forget that criminals do not obey laws. So even though you put gun laws, the criminals will still continue to buy guns and they still continue to use against the people. You cannot punish the innocent and leave the guilty, because do we forget that criminals do not obey the laws? Even though you put gun laws, criminals will still continue to use guns, and we cannot punish the guilty. My opponent also mentioned that it reduces crime. It reduces crime, but there's more chaos. Crime and chaos comes from when people do not trust their government. It comes from fear. When people live in fear. Countries such as Russia have so many restrictions, but people still continue to do wrong things. In 2022, they reported 150 infrastructure damages. My opponent also mentioned that restrictions during COVID-19, but countries such as New Zealand and South Korea do not have as many restrictions as other countries, but they are able to reduce the spread of COVID-19. Why? Because they had systems that worked faster. My opponent also mentioned that it causes chaos, but chaos comes from fear. When people do not trust their government. Do you remember the EndSARS protest? It came from when they sought what was supposed to be for safety to abuse. Chaos only comes when people do not trust their government. That's why people protest, when they are not working with their government. My opponent also mentioned that it reduces murders. But murders and crimes only come when people are not heard. The same as the EndSARS protest. What was supposed to be for safety was turned into abuse. My opponent also mentioned that tighter borders reduce human trafficking. But tighter borders don't always help. What we should do is to create awareness. Let the people know. Like in civic education, we are taught about human trafficking. If we let people be aware of human trafficking, it can be reduced. My opponent also mentioned that safety is the foundation of the economy. But how do you expect people to prosper and for an economy to grow when you do not provide enough jobs? If we're able to provide enough jobs, an economy can move forward, a nation can move forward. It's not always about removing people's liberty that will help the country. My opponent also mentioned that security reduces banditry. But there's other ways. Instead of removing citizens' freedom, we should create more jobs. Let youths get more jobs. Then there will be more security in the country and there will be less banditry. Why do you think criminals going to the work to do? Because there's not enough jobs for them. My opponent also mentioned that security saves lives, but the truth is that it kills many. If you say that it saves lives, are you forgetting about slavery? Black people were killed. Why? They were claimed that was supposed to be for safety. So no, limited liberty does not save life. Instead, it kills lives. Thank you.
Well done.
Chidera Okonkwo, 15-year-old SS3 student of Straitgate High School, Magodo, Lagos, for her school's rebuttal round. Over now to Heritage Group of Schools of Ogun State and the introduction of Agio Timothy Olamilekan.
Respectable judges and listeners, permit me to begin with these roots. Facts are stubborn things, according to John Adams. And today, the facts stand firm on the side of security. I am Agio Timothy from Heritage Group of Schools, yet to be mentally refused 14 points made by my opponent. Today, my opponent speak of liberty like as if it floats in the sky like a balloon. But they forget one simple reality. A balloon without a string does not rise, it flies away and gets lost. Ladies and gentlemen, liberty needs limits the way river needs banks, so it becomes a flow. Statistics do not lie. 71% of global citizens believe government must limit liberty so as to ensure their safety, according to the P.W. Research 2023. Also, nations with stronger security framework enjoy 40% lower crime rates, according to the UNODC. And let me also be honest, my opinion, that countries that fail to limit liberty as critical movements paid with their life, economics, and stability. Is that what we are praying for? So today I stand not just with opinions, but with not just with opinions, but with emotions, not with fear, but with reason, not with emotions, but with logic that cannot be ignored. Because true liberty requires security, the way life requires faith. And so, ladies and gentlemen, let me expose the cracks in the argument of my opponents. My opponent said limited liberty abuses human rights, pure fallacy. Let me bring to your notice that my opponent said pure fallacy. Let me bring to your notice that the first human right is the right to life. Without security, the other rights collapse. The right to movement is not the right to invasion. The right to speech is not the right to slander. So what is my opponent driving at? I heard my opponent say surveillance abuses privacy, but have you not discovered that criminals exploit privacy too? 90% of terror recruitment happens in encrypted private channel, according to the UNODC. So what is my opponent driving at? I heard my opponent say limited liberty is oppression, but my opponent is confusing oppression with protection. Let's be clear. Oppression is force without cause, while security is without protection with purpose. Crime drop an average of 45% after lawful regulation, according to the UNODC. Does this show to you that this point was not with water? I heard my opponent say there is abuse of power. Then regulate them, don't remove security. We don't ban driving on the road because of accident, rather we ensure safe driving. System with oversight cut abuse by 40%, according to Europe 2023. So what does this show to you that this point was not with water? I heard my opponent said freedom should be absolute, but no functioning nation, I repeat, no functioning nation allows absolute freedom. Not the US, not the UK, not France, not Japan, name them, because absolute freedom equal anarchy. Does this show to you that this point is clearly baseless? My opponent also stated that security limits divide society, but I asked my opponents, what can be more disastrous than insecurity? Insecurity divides society faster. Insecurity divides society faster. Look at countries torn by violence, e.g. Somalia. Somalia is ranked one of the top 5 dangerous countries in the world. Does this show to you that this point does not hold water? I heard my opponent said limited liberty kills creativity, pure fallacy. True freedom requires creativity. Fear, I repeat, fear kills creativity. A fearful society cannot be creative, scientifically proven. My opponent also stated that it promotes fear, but I asked my opponent, what can be more fearful than crime? In nations with increased security, citizens fear dropped by 45%, according to the UNODC. Also, my opponent said something about the protest, about NSAS protest. But my opponent, I want you to know that the NSAS protest lasted for weeks because the government understands the source of the protest. The government sent army when they realized that criminals took over the protest. So what is my opponent driving at? I heard my opponent say liberty has no price. Then tell that to families who lost loved ones to crime preventable through surveillance, through security surveillance. Does this show to you that this point does not matter? I heard my opponent say better education, not limits. But I asked my opponent, can education stop a suicide bomber, kidnapper, or killer? Limit, I repeat, limits prevent immediate harm. My opponent also stated that security limits create innovation, but my opponent, innovation thrives in stable economies. Instability shuts down factories. So does this show to you that this point does not matter? I heard my opponent said freedom kills creativity. I heard my opponent said people deserve privacy, but criminals exploit privacy too. 90% of terror recruitment happens in encrypted private channel, according to the UNODC. I heard my opponent made a statement that people need to police themselves, but my opponent, if self-policing work, would crime still exist? I leave that for you to answer. I heard my opponent also made a statement that my opponent made the statement that security limit divides society, but my opponent, insecurity divides society faster. Nations with increased security and just nations with stronger security and just higher social trust, according to the OECD. So what is my opponent driving at? I heard my opponent said limited liberty destroys democracy. In conclusion, ladies and gentlemen, unlimited liberty is not freedom, it is danger wearing a mask. And a nation that fails to limit liberty is a nation volunteering for disaster. Thank you.
Well done. Timothy Agio of Heritage Group of Schools of Ogun State. We'll take one final break in this debate, and when we come back, these students will deliver their closing arguments. Stay with us.
The biggest debate competition in Nigeria. I beg to differ on 99.3 Nigeria Info. Brought to you by GZ Industries.
Obi-W is Nigeria's trusted name in affordable tech and gadget tradings. From Lagos to Abuja, from students to CEOs, Obi-W is your guy for quality tech devices, brand new and pre-owned alike. Got a new phone or laptop? Bring it in and walk away with an upgrade or a cashback, or in fact both. Whether you shop in store or online, at obiwizi.com, you are guaranteed value, warranty, and a customer-first experience. Obi-W offers affordable tech, trusted service, because with gadgets, Obi-W is your guy. Follow Obi-W at Instagram at Obi-W backup page, or on TikTok at Obi-W. That is at Obi-W on TikTok. Obi-W is spelled Obiwezi. That is Obiwezi.
At GZI, we believe corporate success must go hand in hand with community impact. Through our corporate social responsibility initiatives, we've supported lives across Nigeria, from donating protective coveralls to street sweepers nationwide to organizing free medical outreach programs for our host communities. We're committed to improving lives, promoting safety, and giving back wherever we operate. GZI, building communities, inspiring change.
The biggest debate competition in Nigeria. I beg to differ on 99.3 Nigeria Info. Brought to you by GZ Industries.
Welcome back. And now we arrive at the closing round, the final curtain of persuasion. Your last plea, your last stand, your closing conviction. Debaters, time for your closing will revert to the motion supporters. Leah, for one final flourish.
Thank you, honorable moderators and judges, for giving me opportunity to make my closing argument. Let me begin with an old time saying: a fence around the Garden of Liberty keeps the wolves of anarchy at bay. Distinguished judges, ladies and gentlemen, let me close the debate with truth, not fantasy, with reality, not rhetorics, with security, not sweet Spanish speeches. Because no matter how poetic may sound, reality is facing us, and liberty, I repeat, liberty is not liberalism. A home without a door is not a home. It's an invitation to danger. We do not call the owner white because he values freedom. We call him reckless because he left his family exposed. In the same way, a nation without limits is not free. It is vulnerable. The United Nations report that insecure countries look 30 to 50% of their economic growth potential. Tell me, what kind of liberty is that? Imagine Lagos Road, no traffic lights, no speed limits, no rules. That is not freedom. That is chaos. Security laws are the traffic light of a nation, not to restrict movement, but to protect lives. What that organization reports that rules alone save up to 1.3 million lives yearly on the road alone. So tell me, my opponent, if limits can save lives on the road, why not in the society? Take Somalia, for example. When governments weakened and law collapsed, liberty expanded, but so did violence. Liberty expanded, but so did violence. The Global Peace Index ranks Somalia one of the 5 most dangerous countries in the world today. The UK introduced strong surveillance power in 2016. Many shouted invasion of privacy, but what happened? Crime detention increased substantially by 41%, and crime detention increased substantially by 41%, and terror attacks reduced substantially, because when security rises, fear falls. Imagine a school where students are allowed to walk in and out freely without ID card, without checks. Tell me, what kind of liberty is that? That is not freedom. That is chaos. In 2020 school alone, where some schools introduced strict school rules, crime detention reduced, terror attacks reduced substantially by 40%. School experienced fewer attacks, according to UNESCO Education Security Reports. Other protect the vulnerable. As the great philosopher Thomas Hobbes warned, liberty without security is the life of man, nasty, brutish, and short. As Nelson Mandela, a man who fought for democracy, once said, freedom is not worth having if people fear stepping outside. Freedom is beautiful, but freedom without protection is fragile. Freedom is beautiful, but freedom without protection is fragile. As freedom is beautiful, freedom without protection is. A bird is free because of its wings, not because of the wind. A nation is free because of its security, not because of its. A nation is free because of its security, not because of the slogan. Freedom is endangered by. Is not endangered by security. It is endangered by. Freedom is endangered by security. It is endangered by insecurity. It is not endangered by insecurity. Freedom is not the enemy of security. It is the protector of insecurity. Freedom without liberty is a gift wrapped up in danger. Ladies and gentlemen, over 72% of countries have become safer due to introduction of strong security laws. Terror attacks have reduced substantially by 45% in countries with strict security rules. Ladies and gentlemen, countries with strict rules rank the highest, one of the most happiest, according to the World Happiness Report. Ladies and gentlemen, happiness is not bought; it is built. Happiness is not bought. Happiness, ladies and gentlemen, happiness is not bought. It is liberty is like a frame, bright, beautiful, and inspiring. And every frame needs a lantern to keep it from the wind. Security is that lantern. Security is that every flame needs a lantern to keep it from the wind. Security is that lantern. Without it, liberty will blow off like a flame. Therefore, I stand firmly, intelligently, and confident and not apologetic to say limit liberty where necessary, not to reduce freedom, but to promote it, not to kill society, but to shield it, not to shut people, but to protect like the greatest right of all. Because a living citizen can fight for liberty, and a dead citizen cannot. Thank you.
Leah Ayebatokoni Zipele of Heritage Group of Schools of Ada Ogun State with a closing round alongside her teammate Adio Timothy Olamilekon. Well done to both of you from Heritage Group of Schools. We now move on to Straitgate High School, Magodo, Lagos, for their closing. Chidera Okonkwo delivering.
Ladies and gentlemen, before I end, I would like to leave you with something that cuts deeper than any statistic or any argument. So a nation doesn't lose its freedom in one loud moment. Instead, it loses slowly and quietly, under the name of protection. All it takes is one panic and one crisis, and the world is only temporary. And boom, safety is restored, but freedom is taken away. So I ask you, what is the point of safety without freedom? It's simply a cage with soft walls. I am Chidera Okonkwo, and I'm here to give my closing statement. See, liberty is the birthright of every citizen, something we should hold dearly to our chest, because that's the only thing that separates what we have now from an autocratic state. They say democracy is the leadership by the people, of the people, and for the people. But why don't we truly involve the people? See, a nation is made up of everyone. See, all it takes is one panic and one crisis. Freedom. All it takes is one panic and one crisis, and freedom is restored. Citizens do not fathom the responsibility. Citizens do not understand the power of the words that come out of your mouths. Close your eyes and imagine a girl in the 1800s. She wakes up before sunrise, not because she wants to, but because she has no choice. Her rights are taken away. Her movements are being restricted. She's told what she should do and what she should not do. Her movements are being restricted for the progress of the plantation. See, that is a society in which freedom is taken away under the name of order. See, the saddest thing is our story isn't fiction. Our story is reality. It's the reality of millions of black people years ago in which their freedom was taken away under the same excuse that we're arguing today, that liberty protects society. So does truly liberty, does it protect society? Or does it just protect power? Anytime liberty is taken away, whether in apartheid, whether in military laws, whether in emergency laws, the truth is that silence brews. And silence is not security. Silence is as a result of fear. So my point is, I ask you to imagine. Imagine tomorrow they took away your rights. Someone dictated what you do, what you believe in, where you go to, who you hang out with, and claim that you'll be safe. Would you truly feel safe? Or would you feel trapped? Would you feel enclosed? So before I end, I want you to remember that girl. That girl which lived in fear, not in protection. You argue that freedom must shrink so society can grow. But when it shrinks, human voices disappear. So I say defend us, but defend us without taking away the speech in our voices. Protect us without taking away the movement in our feet. Grant us refuge without taking away our liberty. See, every nation grows when the people stand, not new. Every nation moves forward when people's voices rise, not to disappear. Because every nation that takes away the security is very hard to restore it. When a nation takes away liberty because of security, it ends up losing both and loses humanity along the way. Let's choose a nation that will stand together and rule together. For how long we want Nigeria to live like this? Let's work together. Let's create a better nation, a better Nigeria for every single citizen. Ubis, listeners, Ibi Patria. When there's liberty, there is a country. Thank you.
Well done.
Okonkwo Chidera of Straitgate High School, Magodo, Lagos, finishing with a flourish for her school alongside her teammate Grace Owoshino. Well done, both of you, and well done also to the duo of Leah and Timothy of Heritage Group of Schools of Ada Ogun State. And what a day we have had. In fact, a semi-final spectacle indeed, a stirring exploration of freedom and safety, of rights and responsibility, of balance and boundaries in this final semi-final debate. Two schools have spoken with strength and sincerity, but only one will march to the grand finale. Which one? Judges, the decision now rests with you. Lagos, the verdict is coming.
Hello there. I'm here to tell you about the world-class beverage cans producers, GZI. At GZI, excellence is our hallmark. We produce world-class aluminum beverage cans that meet the highest international quality and safety standards. Our cans are 100% recyclable, lightweight, and designed to keep every beverage fresh while protecting the planet. With state-of-the-art facilities and responsible production practices, we are proudly setting the pace for sustainable packaging across Africa. GZI. Yes, we can.
The biggest debate competition in Nigeria. I beg to differ on 99.3 Nigeria Info. Brought to you by GZ Industries.
Welcome back. Welcome back. It's decision time. The judges have decided. In the meantime, diction coach Yvonne Okhaifo will share her thoughts on your performance.
Thank you, Femi. I'll start with Heritage Group of Schools. Don't say most happiest. Happiest is already superlative. Happy, happier, happiest, okay? So no need to say most happiest just because you want to emphasize how happy those countries are, because happiest is already superlative. So say happiest, not most happiest. Slogan, not slogan. Slogan, okay? Rhetorics, not rhetorics. Rhetorics, say rhetorics. Say, when you leave something for someone, you reserve it for them. I left some food for you. I left the book for you. When you leave something for someone, you reserve it for them. When you leave something to someone, you pass on a responsibility to them. So, for example, you can say, I will leave it to my opponent to answer. When you leave something to someone, you delegate the responsibility of taking action. All right? So instead of saying, I will leave that for my opponent, you meant to say you will leave it to your opponent. All right? Use leave for when you mean reserving something for someone. It's usually physical, something that you can touch, like a book or a meal. All right? Say, quickly, say encrypted, not encrypted. All right? Encrypt, not encrypt. Also say, I heard my opponent say. Not I heard my opponent said. No, I heard my opponent say. Okay. Also say birthed, not bethed. Birthed. All right? Birthed. Terrorism, not terrorism. Terrorism. According to the UNODC. Not according to UNODC. To the. All right? Use the definite article the with abbreviations that are pronounced with abbreviations requiring letters pronounced individually. So the UNODC, the WHO, all right, not UNODC without the definite article. Say to Straitgate school, Straitgate High School, say censor. There's a difference between censor and censure. All right, when you censure a person, you criticize them openly. When you censor something, you suppress it. All right? That's the major difference. So you meant censor as opposed to censure. Also say democracy, not democracy. Both of you, both schools. Democracy. Say there are other ways, not there's other ways. There are more than one way. There's other ways. It also applies to this one. There's no enough jobs. There are not enough jobs. Not there's no enough jobs. All right. There are not enough jobs. The girl which lived in fear. I'm sure you meant the girl who lived in fear, not the girl which lived in fear. Okay. You meant to say accorded to us, not afforded to us. When talking about liberty, accorded to, not afforded to. All right? I'll stop here, Femi.
All right. At long last, it's time for the verdict. Pay attention, students, debaters. For this final semi-final debate, in the presentation round, George Ama scores it. Heritage Group of Schools 9, Straitgate High School 10. Judge Ufoma scores it. Heritage Group of Schools 9, Straitgate High 10. And Chief Judge Chike scores it. Heritage Group of Schools 9. Straitgate High School 10. The judges are unanimous in round 1. It's 27 to Heritage Group of Schools and 30 to Straitgate High School. Now to the second round, the rebuttal round. George Ama scores it. Heritage Group of Schools 10. Straitgate High School 9. Judge Ufoma scores it. Heritage Group of Schools 10. Straitgate High School 9. And Chief Judge Chike scores it. Heritage Group of Schools 10. Straitgate High School 8.5. So Heritage Group of Schools win the second round 30 to 26.5 for Straitgate High School, meaning Heritage Group of Schools now leads by half a point after 2 rounds, 37 to 36.5. Now we go to the third round. The Chief Judge Chike scores the third round a tie. Judges Ama and Ufoma score it unanimously amongst them 10-9. Diction scoring is 10-9. Straitgate 10. Heritage Group of Schools 9. With Chief Judge Chike having scored the third round a tie, it is down to the scoring now of Judge Ama and Ufoma, who have it 10-9 for your winner. By split decision. 96.5 points to 94 points. Congratulations to the duo of Owoshina Grace and Okonkwo Chidera of Straitgate High School, Magodo, Lagos. Congratulations. Into the final you go, and your place in the National Tournament of Champions booked. Congratulations once again. Well, here you go, ladies. That is your topic for the final and your position. All the best in the final. And to the duo of Leah and Timothy and Deborah, for that matter, who's labored alongside you to get you here. I know it's heartbreaking, but think about it. Think about it. You are top 4 of the best 32 schools that competed.
Indeed.
Across states. Here, Lagos and Ogun State.
Not to also mention that you are still in the game, at least vying now for third place, hoping to take home 2 million naira and 3 Bluetooth headphones. 2 million naira and 3 premium Bluetooth headphones still up for grabs in the third place match.
For
so
you and your
so
school.
much.
Yes.
There's still so much at stake. So much at stake.
So well done. I couldn't be more proud. Remember, if you are going to snatch an automatic place to the National Tournament of Finals, you have to win the third place
in top 3.
Third place, and the third place match, and that applies also to Great Solid Rock College, your opponent. The final is between Honeyland Schools, Abeson Estate, Ikpaja, Lagos, and Straitgate High School, Magodo, Lagos. Don't forget, the third place final is on Thursday. It starts at 3 p.m. prompt. 3 p.m. prompt. To both schools, do not be late. Heritage Group of Schools and Great Solid Rock College, lest you be worked over.
What a time we have had. All that is left now, our next stop is Thursday's grand finale, where the ultimate voices of reason will face off for the season 9 title. Until then, we have to tell you to keep the conversations alive. Femi.
No doubt, no doubt. The drama returns. Remember that the final will consist of both a debate in round 1 and a presentation in round 2 of that final. Hoping they don't take us into a tiebreaker.
Hoping they don't do that.
Before that will be the massive, all stakes on the table, third place clash.
Indeed.
Between Great Solid Rock College and Heritage Group of Schools. Lagos, we cannot wait. There will be time for us to review what we've seen, hopefully during the course of the week.
Yes.
And you have your opportunity to share your thoughts. So
Indeed. But now we have to go. Special thanks to the production team. Sheriff Quadri, Olamide Fadoju, Babatunde Abdul Salam, Kenneth Odoeme, Samuel Uwuji, and of course, Onyeka Eledan.
Also, thanks to all our sponsors, starting with the lead sponsor, GZ Industries, Obi-W.
Right.
Thank you for everything. We'll be hearing more from Obi-W in the final. Also to Finatrust Microfinance Bank.
And of course, Multi-Plan Pathway College.
Thanks to our students, but the biggest thanks will go to you, our esteemed audience. See you all on Thursday.
Bye for now.
In your voice. Join the conversation on Nigeria's first talk radio station.
It is the police and the law enforcement agents you have endangered.
What does this tell you as a Nigerian?
Go to court is part of the corrupt architectural structure.
Somebody will see 100 billion and the court will ask the person to pay a fine. Even as a dead body, I will not vote for them.
The conversation never stops on 99.3 Nigeria Info. Let's talk.
99.3 Nigeria Info. We are more than just radio. Subscribe to our YouTube channel at Nigeria Info FM. Check us out on Facebook at Nigeria Info 99.3. Follow us on Twitter at Nigeria Info FM and on Instagram at Nigeria Info FM Lagos for live updates as it happens.